between adsorption and absorption. In adsorption, the substance is concentrated only at the surface and does not penetrate through the surface to the bulk of adsorbents, while in adsorption, the substance is uniformly distributed throughout the bulk of the solid. For example, chalk piece is dipped in ink. The surface retains the color of the ink due to adsorption of color molecules, while the solvent of the ink goes deeper into the chalk piece due to absorption. Mechanism of adsorption. Adsorption arises to the fact that the surface particles of the adsorbent are not in the same environment as the particles inside the bulk. Inside the adsorbent, particles are surrounded by atoms in all sides. Forces acting on these particles are not surrounded by atoms or molecules on all sides. Therefore, these possess unbalanced or residual forces, which are responsible for attracting the adsorbate particles on its surface. The extent of adsorption increases with the increase of surface area per unit mass of the adsorbent at a given temperature and pressure. During adsorption, there is always a decrease in residual forces of the surface. That is, there is decrease in surface energy which appears as heat. Therefore, adsorption as an exothermic process. Delta H equals to negative. During process of adsorption, freedom movement become restricted. That is, entropy of system decreases. Delta S equals to negative. Adsorption is thus accompanied by decrease in enthalpy. Delta H equals to negative, and entropy delta S equals to negative. But adsorption process is spontaneous. The thermodynamic requirement for this is delta G must be negative. That is, delta H minus T delta S equals to negative. On the basis of equation, delta G equals to delta H minus T delta S. Delta G can be negative if delta H has sufficiently high negative value as T delta S is positive. As the adsorption processed, delta H becomes less and less negative. Ultimately, delta H becomes equals to T delta S and delta G becomes 0. At this stage, equilibrium is reached. Types of adsorption. Adsorptions are of two types, namely 1. Physical adsorption or physisorption. 2. Chemical adsorption or chemisorption.